All right, everybody, welcome back to another live stream for you guys. Short one today, just because, yeah, my kiddos get out of school early and everything like that. So I'm not going to be too long on this live stream, but I do wanted to go live and just kind of get your guys' feedback simultaneously as, while I'm talking about Android 16 QPR2's release. Now, this is a quarterly platform release, which means that, Pixel drop, technically new features, new things added in. Now, for a lot of people out there who were on beta and still are on beta, this is not going to be entirely big news for you guys because obviously you were beta testing this before it went full, rolled out everybody type release. So anyways, also while you're in, hit the like button, say what's up, and let me know how you guys enjoying these Vlogmas vlogs, because I've been having fun making them for you guys. So hopefully you guys are enjoying them. What's up, Anthony? How's it going on? Oh, snow day. Nice. Yeah, no snow over here. It's pretty cold this morning. But nothing, no precipitation for snow. We don't really get snow here in Phoenix. We have to go to Flagstaff in order to get snow. But anyhow, yeah, so QPR2 has finally released. So some of the things I was talking about with Android, that sometimes, me being in my old age, I get forgetful, and I forget to, yeah, I just forget a lot of things. What up, Jeremy? What's going on, man? I forget that, I'm running beta software. So I've been on Android 16 QPR2 beta 3.3 for almost a month now. And, so I went to check for a software update and it was like, no software update available for me. And I'm like, why? Everybody else is getting it. Why can't I get it? And I was like, wait a minute. This is full out QPR2 release. So it's not in beta. This is not beta software. This is full fledged. And some of the things that I've been talking about with, my Pixel devices and what they can do pertain to this update. So if you were looking on your Pixel and you're like, I don't see what he's talking about, he's full of F, he's full of S and all this. Well, now you know that I wasn't, because it's here. Yeah, so I have the site pulled up. Basically, we're gonna go through this real quickly. Feel free to chime in the chat. Tell me what you guys think, if you guys got the update yourselves, and how is the update working on your device. Also state what device you have for the rest of the chat to see, so that way they know, if you're experiencing issues and you're on a Pixel 6a, please put that you're using a Pixel 6a, whether you're in the chat or if you're the replay crew, hashtag replay crew, and put it in the comments which device you're using, so other people can see if they're facing the same issue and do they have the same device as you, or something closely similar, like a 7a. Maybe it might be a near generational thing, or just specifically isolated to one device. This is the fastest way that we can figure out if anyone that's having issues and noticed issues will know if it's an isolated thing or if it's widespread, just the software itself. So you guys can see right here, Android developer site. Let me go ahead and pop this into the chat. You guys can open it up in your browser and read it on your leisure, or read it and listen at the same time. But yeah, there we go. So this basically gives you all the ins and outs of Android 16 QPR2, everything you need to know about the release, and just some footnotes about it and everything like that, obviously. And yeah, so we're not really going to go through all of that as far as the milestone for the platform evolution, but we're going to get into one of the earlier things that I've noticed, and that now you'll be able to do with your device if you're not on beta software, and that is expanded dark themes. And this really just kind of pushes to where certain apps that didn't have the ability to dark theme, you'll be able to now. Now, I don't know if this works towards Threads by Instagram, and that's just because if anyone that is using Threads, which is an Instagram microblogging app, pretty much it's the rival to X. If you have dark theme turned on, then the app Threads is in a dark theme setting. But if you have light theme on, then no matter what, there's no settings in the Threads app to force dark mode. Like on Instagram, you can have like, so for better context, you can have light theme turned on, but then have every app forced onto dark mode in those apps, right? Where you can just take advantage of like how the, the Pixel UI themes look in the light mode rather than in dark mode, but still have all your apps in dark mode, so it's not eating up too much battery when you're within those apps. Threads was one that didn't have a setting to force that on. And even if you opened up developer options and scrolled all the way close to the bottom of the list in developer options, there was one that says force dark mode. And even if you turned that on, Threads would not flip over to dark mode. The only way you would get dark mode on Threads is if you had it system wide. And so I'm wondering if the same thing happens here. So I'm actually going to do that real quickly. So let me go into display, and then let's see. So yeah, no, if I turn this off, oh no, wait, I can do it in light mode. So let's see. Let's open up Threads. Nope, Threads is still light. I'll show you guys here in the demo real quick. But everything else, like Dialer, oh no, Dialer moved over. What the heck? Yeah, everything else is slightly moving over to light mode. Oh well. So it only works in dark mode. I wasn't able to tell, but I'll show you guys here in a little bit. But anyways, yeah, expanded dark theme. So that's pretty nice for those people out there who just, they download an app and the app doesn't play well. Like basically a lot of what's in this update pretty much pushes every other app service to either get like the latest APIs and build out their icon to be themed, and also to be in dark mode, because there were some apps that just wouldn't do it. Like one of the examples they give you right here was Fitbit. Fitbit always stayed in light mode. So now when you go into your settings display and then you toggle on dark mode or dark theme, and there's a little drop down underneath it, you hit that and you'll see these two options underneath it, standard and expanded. And obviously you know what expanded means. It means that it's going to force just about every app on your phone to pretty much go into dark mode if it doesn't allow it already. So that's pretty much nice. And says here, if your app inherits from one of the standard day-night themes, this is done automatically for you. So if you have your theming set up where like during the day it's in light mode, when it's nighttime it's in dark mode, it will force the app to follow that same scheduling. So that's pretty nice. Another thing here is custom icon shapes and auto theming. This is something that I've been able to play around with for a while, and it actually makes customizing your Google Pixel device pretty solid. So like there's different icon shapes. One of them is called 4-sided cookie. The other one I believe is called 7-sided cookie. And the 7-sided cookie matches my clock widget. So if I have all my apps pretty much with that icon theme, and then it'll match my clock widget. Same if you go with 4-sided cookie. Like I'll have two examples here to show you. Let me go ahead and switch to my top side view real quick. So this is my Pixel 10, and it has the 7-sided cookie is what they call it, which kind of matches my clock widget right there. And then what I mean also is like on my Pixel 9a, I have the 4-sided cookie is what they call it, and my clock widget is shaped exactly like them. So you can really start to get a little bit playful with Android. On top of that, everyone got the software update that allows for theming, as far as like theming the entire Pixel UI. So you had 3 options to choose from based on that movie Wicked. And so like really, it's just like fans of Wicked and those that would be into that type of stuff would benefit from that theming. As far as like the rest of the people in the nerd world and even other casuals out there, there's not really anything yet. And I say yet because it's going to happen. They're going to have more themes in the future. Like I know like we're so antsy about theming that we want them to rush it. I would rather have them take their time, because you can always download a third-party launcher if you absolutely have to theme your phone. You can just still download a third-party launcher and theme your phone that way. But like I would want them to build it where yes, it's native to Pixel UI, and that they have it down right, so we're not experiencing bug issues and stuff, because that's usually what happens. If the Pixels have bug issues, then people complain, and they bitch about it. And they take to social media and they continue to bitch about it. And it's just like, well, you know, you wanted things rushed. So when you rush things, that's what you get. It's like, you know, it's like getting a cheeseburger from a restaurant. If you don't let the cook the meat patty all the way through, then he's going to serve you a toasted outside, you know, patty where the inside is still like a tartare. It's still raw. So you can't complain if your burger's raw if you didn't give them the time to cook it. It's the same thing when it comes to Android. Let them bake. I think I'm going to make custom shirts in 2026 that has the slogan, let them bake. So that way, you know, people just kind of back off on how fast they want these things to be, you know, rushed and processed and everything. But, you know, for the most part, yes, you can theme icons now. You don't have to be on the beta version to do this. And the theming also goes a lot further. So like certain icons that, you know, if you turned on, theming icon, some of the icons on your home display would not show in a theme. It would show in its normal thing. Like for instance, the YouTube Create app, which, you know, you see right there, it's darker than all the other ones, which is something I think they need to work on and fix. But you see the rest of my icons are this green color, like a light green with a dark green emblem inside. And then on the YouTube Create right there, it's dark all the way around and light. I don't understand why they did that, because I'll show you right now. If I go back, you know, into my settings and then I turn on, you know, dark theme and I go back, now you can find YouTube Create still, because now it's the opposite of all the other ones. Like I don't know if that was a mistake on their end, but normally this would just be like white and red, like the YouTube Create app. It would just be white and red. They wouldn't, you know, they wouldn't have it differently. So, and mind you, these days, the way with battery life and the way that Android is, that, you know, in my opinion, Android sips battery. I can keep my phones on light mode and get a good days of battery with it. That when I'm going to bed, it'll be time to throw it on the charger then. But I mean, that's for another video, another time, and another place. So it says right here, boosting your productivity and app performance. And they say, we are introducing tools and updates designed to streamline your workflow and improve app performance. Linux development environment with GUI applications. So this is something that I already have. Like I said, with QPR2 beta 3.3, we had this open up to us, the Linux terminal on our devices, which means that we can actually install Linux apps on Pixel phones. Okay, so like I've been saying for the longest time, and I didn't want to like put too much out there until we knew for sure that everyone was going to get access to it, and now we know because it's in the QPR2 release. Yeah, that's why I really don't give two left nuts about you know, 8 Gen 5 Elite and all this other stuff, because really when it comes down to Pixels, it's what they're going to be able to do. And so, you know, most people won't care about this. Like the casuals won't give a crap about this. Like they're not into installing Linux apps. They just want to, you know, get on their TikTok and stuff. I totally get it. But for a lot of us nerds out there, like we're into stuff like this, because I do want to be able to say there's like a really banging ass Linux app. I want to be able to run it on my Pixel. I mean, that's the end game goal, right? This is the reason why that, you know, Aluminum OS is coming, which if you guys didn't know, that is the software that's going to be replaced in Chromebooks. So like you've heard of Chromium, now they're having Aluminum OS, and this is an Android-based software for Chromebooks and Pixelbooks, and you know, the Pixel tablet. That's going to make everything more cohesive. The continuity amongst all these devices are really starting to get Apple-esque. So Apple's really going to start getting a run for its money by Google. Already we have, you know, the quick share to AirDrop compatibility now, which Apple has still yet to block or do something funky to just kind of like, you know, protect their wall garden, because their walls are coming down. In the words of Steve Urkel, Android is wearing them down, baby. He's wearing them down. Oh, it's a bad impression of Urkel. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. 3 hours of sleep and you'll go nuts too. Trust me. Anyways, so yeah, we have other things put in here like general garbage collection. So the Android runtime now includes a general concurrent mark compact, or CMC, garbage collector. This focuses collection of newly allocated objects, resulting in reduced CPU usage and improved battery efficiency. So a lot of that junk crap that just builds up over time of like surfing, downloading, and installing and running, programs and stuff like that. A lot of that junk files and everything is actually going to be allocated where I guess you could say, in the easiest terms I can put it, it's sandboxed, where it doesn't interfere with performance, with processing power and any of those things. It doesn't interfere with any of that at all whatsoever, because it is junk. It's garbage. It's not something that you're really going to need. Now we just need a more easy way for people to just basically like wipe their phone of all garbage junk files to really kind of just like enhance the performance. Like, I know, Android doesn't need our help. It never has. All those times where people were installing task killers and were wondering why were they getting such poor battery performance, and it's like, you're running a task killer, you're killing all your tasks in background, and for the most part of everything, killing the tasks in background, some of the tasks that needed to be open for Android to run and properly, you were killing. So all you were doing was you're killing tasks, and it was just reopening everything. And then you're like wondering, well, my battery sucks. Well, yeah, because you're killing those tasks, and it's reopening a whole list of those tasks again, because those things need to run in background. Like your clock widget needs to run in background. Your weather widget needs to run in background in order to update you with proper information. So yeah, with this, a lot of that junk stuff that comes with installing a program, installing an app, any of those things that you may have gotten rid of off your device, and a lot of that junk files is going to be allocated sandbox, where it's not interfering with anything else on your device other than being prepared to be flushed down the toilet. Like, Agent J said to K, they love to get flushed. He used to be like, flush me, Jay, flush me. And I'd be like, nah. I don't know what it is with you today. Lack of sleep makes me nuts. Anyways, sorry for the movie references if they annoy you. Sorry, but hey, it is what it is. Anyway, so we got widget engagement metrics. You can now query user interaction events such as clicks, scrolls, impressions to better understand how users engage with your widgets. So I guess this is for app developers. So media connectivity and health. QPR2 brings robust updates to media standards and device connectivity. I'm trying to say I am, but it's IAMF. I am. Well, of course, IMF. No. IAMF and audio sharing. We have added software decoding support to immersive audio modal and formats. IAMF or IMF. And open source spatial audio format. Additionally, personal audio sharing for Bluetooth LE audio is now integrated directly into the system output switcher. Nice. So, just subtle things here to make things just extra saucy for everybody. Let's see. Health Connect updates. Health Connect now automatically tracks steps using the device's sensors. Weren't they doing that before? If your app has read steps permission, the data will be available from the Android package. Not only does this simplify the code needed to do step tracking, it's also more power efficient. It also can track weight, set index, and rate of perceived exertion, or RPE, in exercise segments. Oh, wow. That's pretty nice. Smooth migrations. A new third-party data transfer API enables more reliable data migration between Android and iOS. So now when you're going to be switching from iPhone to Android, and then all your data from your iPhone will migrate over to your Android device nicely, and vice versa. So technically it fits like a glove. It's smooth now. Nice. Love that. Strengthening privacy and security. Security remains a top priority with new features designed to protect user data and device integrity. But security really lies in the hand of the beholders out there. What you do with your Android device is really how the security integrity of your device is. Whether you're smart, you're not downloading crap from places that you shouldn't be, or, whatever. But let's not like you unbox an Android or a Pixel, turn it on, and as soon as you get to the home screen, boom, you're festered with viruses. This ain't Dr. Mario. You ain't got to throw pills inside your Pixel to fix it, much less color match them. And who's played Dr. Mario, by the way, and who's really good at it? I know I held a very long record on Dr. Mario for Nintendo. Side note, it was 2 days. but I don't remember what level exactly it was, but it was 2 days, not full 48 hours because I had to go to sleep, but like the Nintendo was in my room, so I wouldn't turn off the Nintendo. I would just turn off the TV and pause the game and hope that my system didn't overheat where it froze and I had to reset. And I wake up the next morning and just continue on playing and playing and playing. And so yeah, it's like 2 days, minus 16 hours of sleep, and you got a very good idea. Anyhow, let's see. I got rid of my Google Pixel 6a. Now I have a Moto G Stylus 2025. Okay, so then yeah, you just either flash a custom ROM on that thing when there's one available, because that's the only thing. Like Motorola's, side note here, Motorola's, I really like Motorola devices. The only thing that grinds my gear, that pisses me off about Motorola, is their greediness. Rather than updating these devices, at least giving their mid-range and upper mid-range devices at least 2 software updates, and then their flagships at least 4 or 5 software updates, they just continue to just like barely give 1 software update, build the new version of that device, and then say, hey, this is the reason why you should upgrade. Like they force you to upgrade if you want, like say like the G Stylus. If you want a G Stylus with the latest version of Android, well, you're forced to upgrade. So like your Moto G Stylus 2025 is about to become obsolete because you're gonna have to like upgrade to the 2026 model in order to get the benefits of Android 16 and the latest Android feature drops for Android 16. Whereas the Moto G Stylus 2025 may get Android 16 and then that'll be it. That's like end of life. Totally sucks. I mean, and then, you know, there's so many variants of Motorola devices. It's like you can accidentally download the wrong custom ROM and flash it onto your Moto device, and then boom, you just, you know, hard bricked your phone. You know, you'll be lucky if you can use any type of recovery tool to even bounce it back from that, get it back to stock Android, and, you know, save the life of it. I mean, if you do rigorous research, you'll probably find a way to unbrick it. But yeah, Motos are pain in the asses. But I love the performance of their phones. I love the Moto features that these phones have from Motorola. They're solid. I really wish Google never sold Motorola to Lenovo. Google should have kept Motorola under their umbrella. That's just me. SMS OTP protection. So delivery of message containing a SMS retriever hash will be displayed for most apps for 3 hours to help prevent OTP hijacking. The received SMS broadcast will be withheld, and the SMS provider database queries will be filtered. The SMS will be available to these apps after the 3-hour delay. Wow. That's nuts. Secure lock devices. A new system level security state, secure lock device, is being introduced. When enabled, and that's remotely via Find My Device, the device locks immediately and requires the primary PIN, pattern, or password to unlock, heightening security. So this is something that they finally brought in. I think they should have brought this a long time ago. But you know what? Better late than never, right? I mean, that's what Apple people say a lot. So why can't we use that? But yeah, when active, notifications and quick affordances on the lock screen will be hidden, and biometric unlock will be temporarily disabled. So no face unlock, no biometric fingerprint sensor unlock. None of that stuff will work when you go into the Find My Device hub and you lock down your device because it's missing. So that's reassuring. That's very reassuring. And the reason why I say that is that I really like to know that if I lose my Pixel 10, and not really lose it, but, you know, say somebody decided to unalive me and then take my thumb, I'm in good hands because that fingerprint won't work. Anyways. Yeah, you can't take someone's severed limb and unlock a device anymore. You would have to, you know, put in the primary PIN password to get it unlocked. So there you go. There you have it. Get started. If you're not in the beta or canary programs, your Pixel device should get the Android 16 QPR2 release shortly. If you don't have a Pixel device, you can use the 64-bit system images with the Android emulator in Android Studios. So like if you're like on a device that can basically run, you know, the stock version of Android, because yes, technically If you want to spell it out, Google Pixels don't have vanilla stock Android. They have, what we've all come to call the Pixel UI. And but if you want, vanilla stock Android on your device, and your device is unlocked and your device is able to flash, a software update onto it, you can download the system image. You'll just have to go through ADB to install it on your device. Just make sure that you have OEM unlocked enabled and USB debugging is turned on. Make sure that you unlock your bootloader, because you're going to need your bootloader unlocked. If you cannot achieve those things, then don't even attempt to do it. I.e., if you have a Verizon device, then don't do it. What up, Nian Dang? What's up, my friend? Don't attempt to do it, because you're not going to get anywhere. Trust me, I've tried everything. I look so pathetic. Side note here. God, you guys are probably getting irritated at like all my side notes. Like, dude, shut up with side notes. Side notes here. I wanted to find a way to flash a custom ROM on my Pixel 4 XL, which happens to be a Verizon variant. And I look so pathetic going, and I'm not bullshitting anybody. I went literally 31 hours with no sleep, digging through archives, digging through everything that I can find on the Pixel 4 XL for Verizon. If anyone found a way to bump a custom recovery onto it, bypassing the ability of not being able to unlock the bootloader, if anyone has found a way to unlock the bootloader, and not the old way of doing it, like when it was like on Android 14 or Android 13 or Android 12, right? Like, because some of those old versions had a exploit you could use to unlock the bootloader, and then you would be able to flash custom ROMs on a Verizon model Pixel 4 XL. Problem with that is that Google patched all that. And then, of course, that's the reason why that Google blocked the ability to downgrade your software on your Pixel 4 XL using the Google Flash tool, was because they knew people were downgrading on purpose just to be able to use that exploit in getting the bootloader unlocked, so that way they can install a custom recovery and then flash a custom ROM onto their Pixel 4 XL. I don't get why they don't just unlock the bootloader. Verizon, people go after Verizon. Verizon says, we have nothing to do with the bootloader. Contact Google. Contact Google. Google says that's what Verizon wants on their phones. They can't do nothing about it. Someone can do something about it, but nobody wants to do anything about it. And I got to give it up. Hats off to the people at Verizon and Google for staying loyal and trustworthy to their companies. That one person who knows how to unlock these bootloaders never leaked how to do it, or never even started up a side business of them doing it themselves. I'm just saying. Probably why no company wants to hire me, because they know I would do that for you guys. Anyways. All right, so if you're currently on Android 16 QPR2 beta and have not yet installed the Android 16 QPR beta 3 or QPR3 beta, you can opt out of the program, and you will then be offered the release version. Yes or no? I don't want to go out of beta. I like to beta test and send feedback to Google what I find with bugs or anything like that. So anyways, that is all the latest things with this QPR2, the quarterly platform release 2 of Android 16. And really, it's very similar to like what's on my Pixel 10. You have these customizations with the icons and the theming now. Like, everything is just, it's coming along nicely. So I would say, the whole thing with Material UI is looking pretty good on Pixels. I like that. The fact that they're bringing in the ability to theme not only just the wallpaper and the app icons and whatnot, the colorway and everything like that, but also with these new themes that they've introduced in the form of the first releases, which is the Wicked themes. They also come with ringtones, notification sounds, Gboard customizations, as well as some what do they call it? Some GIF animations. I'm not entirely sure, because I did not install the Wicked theme. I might just do it just for the hell of it. You know what I mean? I'm comfortable with myself. I've seen a lot of people talk about it, and they're like, I wouldn't use that theme. And technically, I wouldn't use that theme either, because it doesn't appeal to me. But maybe I'll use it just so I can tell you guys like what I've noticed. So I'll probably do that this coming weekend, and then have a video next week Monday talking about the themes and what I've noticed of running the theme. Of course, my wife's probably gonna look at me weird and be like, are you a fan of Wicked? And then she's gonna want to go see it in theaters, and I'm just gonna completely screw myself. But that's totally fine and totally okay. I am fine and okay with that. But like, all these these custom animations and themes and everything that's going to the pixels, and even like my Pixel 9a, like gosh, this thing is just like solid as hell. Yes, that is the Dark Magician. I do and like to play Yu-Gi-Oh. Anyways, yeah, I just love the way that it's turning out. So yes, when people are like, well, Pixels don't have stock Android anymore, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, because they're more focused now on customizations of the user interface. Like, they focus primarily on software development, and they were very, very hard on themselves in pushing out software with features and things that, at the time to them made sense, but then technically doesn't make sense to them. But now they're at a point now where they understand where people also like to be playful, but not playful in the way that Google has always thought and assumed from casuals, but like basically people like to be playful as far as like customizing and making things look their own. Like, somebody would love it, and you can deny it all you want to, but if you deny it, you're just blowing smoke up everyone's ass. The truth is, if you can customize your phone to make it so unique that you can have 10 other people with the exact same phone, color, and case, and all you guys lay your phones out on the table, and every one of them has the same style user interface, but yours is so uniquely different, of course, you're going to take a little pride that your user interface is very different from everybody else's. That is what we are. That's just the nature of things. So I'm gonna take some of the comments here, and let's see. I've got a question. I don't understand the RAM Plus option. Are you familiar with this option? Yes, it's called virtual RAM. So what it initially is, just to be straight with you. So hypothetically, you have a phone. Let's say it has 256 gigabytes of internal storage, and it's got 8 gigabytes of RAM. However, you have RAM Plus or Extend RAM or RAM Extension, whatever they want to call it. You have this ability, and in the options, you see 2, 4, and 6 gigabytes, right? So you can expand your RAM by 2 gigabytes, 4 gigabytes, or 6 gigabytes. But what initially is happening is when you choose that, excuse me, let's go hypothetical and say there was an option for, 100 gigabytes. Let's say that. That's overkill, by the way. You don't need that much random access memory. But let's say you got a phone, 256 internal storage, 8 gigabytes of RAM, expandable to max at 100 gigs expandable. So you can make yourself have 108 gigabytes of RAM. So you decide to turn that on. What happens is that the reason why the phone has to reboot when you do this is because the internal storage, the free space of the internal storage is being taken. So when your phone restarts, you'll have 108 gigabytes of random access memory, but now your internal storage is deduced by 100 gigs. So then your internal storage will show 156 instead of 256. Virtual RAM tries to act the same as RAM, but it's not as reliable as actual RAM is. It does help in certain scenarios. If you're running very heavy, intense programming, and this even, goes with PCs. If you're running very heavy, intense programming, well then, of course, you would need that RAM in order for it to run smoothly. Like RAM, it's intended to be used. It's very weird because everyone's been taught this notion that like if you have like 8 gigabytes of RAM, you should always have 4 gigs free, like 4 gigs of RAM free for your phone to run smoothly, and that's not necessarily the case. RAM is to be used. So yes, it gives you the ability, because again, all these apps, like when you close out of an app, but you don't actually force stop the app, you just close out of it. The reason that it's able to remember the last place you were, like if you were scrolling through your Facebook feed, it knows that you were at this certain post by this certain person, is because even though the app is not in the foreground running, it's still slightly running in background. RAM keeps it open, so then in that way that it can still continue to hold the information where you were last at, download new information that you're not present in the app to see, so it's ready and available that when you relaunch the app, you're right where you left off, and the new information's there too. So if you were to just refresh, it'll quickly show you the new information that you were not looking at because the app was closed. So you can use this amount of RAM if it helps with performance, if it helps with the amount of apps that you have running in background. including like any special widget apps that you downloaded, like third-party widgets, like weather widget, clock widget, anything like that that has like extra special features and always needs to remain persistent in background. And you don't have a lot of RAM, like you have a device that has very low amounts of RAM, well then you can add VRAM. That's what it's called. It's virtual RAM, and it will help in that. But the VRAM does not act the same exactly as the actual amount of memory of RAM that you have on your device. And I don't know if that made sense or if I just made things more convoluted or whatever. But you know, look, basically in theory, VRAM is never going to be as good as actual RAM, but it does help in certain instances. It just depends on how you're using your phone. Does that make sense? I hope I said it right, because I'm gonna feel like an idiot if I said it wrong or if I like, you know, made it more worse. Which option would I suggest? Like I said, it just depends on what you're doing on your phone. What is the native amount of RAM on your phone currently right now? Like without turning on VRAM. Like if your phone has 128 gigs of internal storage and what, like 8 gigabytes of RAM or 12 gigabytes of RAM. Because if you're like sitting like at 12 gigabytes of RAM or even 16 gigabytes of RAM, you really don't need to add any more like virtual RAM on top of it. 12 to 16 is good enough to just run basic AI on your device. This is why like the Pixel 9a, the one thing that people pick at when it comes to the Pixel 9a is that it has only 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is still good enough to kind of run some of the basic stuff when it comes to Gemini or Gemini Pro. But you know, at the end of the day, 12 gigs is better and 16 is even way better. Okay, so you have 8 gigs of RAM. So if you wanted to extend your RAM to try and smooth out the performance of your operating system versus the amount of apps you have open in background, I would say a safe zone that I would do is I would probably do no more than 8. So I wouldn't touch 12 gigs and convert 12 gigs of the internal storage to become virtual RAM. The highest I would go is 8 gigs. It's safe. It's safe to do. Just understand that 8 gigabytes of RAM that you have for your internal storage is now gone. So now your internal storage is not going to read out at 128. It's going to read out at like 119 to 117 gigs, maybe 116 gigs, because you also have to think about the software itself and how much of the internal storage it takes already, which most software today is already taking about 2 to 2.5, maybe 3 gigs of internal storage already. And this is why that the normalcies for phones needs to start moving up to 256 of internal storage, is because when you have software that's like, you know, 3 to 4 gigabytes of space taken already just for the operating system, and then apps today are getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and you know, that's more of the internal storage being eaten up. Like me, I don't have a problem running 128, but I'm not a stupid fool. I know that if someone was to walk up and say, hey, I'll trade you a Lemongrass Pixel 10 for your Lemongrass Pixel 10, but mine has 256 storage and yours only has 128, would you like to trade me? Fuck yeah. As long as everything is functional, operable, and just in pristine condition, because mine's is, we'll swap. You can take my 128. I'll take 256. I have no problem doing that. More storage is better storage. I never heard anyone that complained that said more storage is bad. More RAM is bad. Like, if someone was to come and tell me that and they were absolutely fucking serious, then I would absolutely fucking ask them, why are they absolutely fucking doing shrooms? You had to do shrooms or acid or something. Like, who hates more storage? Oh, you got 256 internal storage. Okay. 12 gigs of RAM wouldn't really hurt that, right? 256 is a good amount to play with. And so you would have your already native 8 gigs of RAM. You would have your 12 gigs of virtual RAM. And know this, that the 8 gigabytes is always going to be primarily used. So if like the amount of RAM that your phone is constantly using, say it's, 5.5, then you're never really going to touch that 12 gigs of virtual RAM, because the only time that RAM comes into play is if everything you're doing on your device is using the RAM and has already exceeded the 8 gigs of native RAM. Then it'll start opening into the virtual RAM that you have turned on. What up, Radiant Switch Tech? What's going on? Another local. This guy's local here. Radiant Switch Tech is local around my region. So maybe one day we'll meet. Maybe one day we'll like meet up or something. Have a drink, not alcoholic, like Like, I like Sonic drive-in drinks because I do like the weirdest drink ever. You guys will probably think I'm really weird, and I'm going to tell you what my favorite drink is from Sonic Drive-In. When I tell you it, understand that while it does seem disgusting because I'm naming it, you have to freaking try it. And I'll tell you why afterwards. But my favorite drink that I get maybe once or twice a year from Sonic Drive-In is a chocolate cherry Dr. Pepper. I'm not fucking around. Like, little bits of like chocolate flavoring in the Dr. Pepper with cherry flavoring and 2 cherries dropped in. Easy ice. You could do diet or you could do regular Dr. Pepper, up to you. The reason why I say that is because when you shake it up real quick and you take your first sip, you guys could DM me on social media. Find me on Instagram and DM me. It tastes like a Tootsie Roll. It literally tastes like a Tootsie Roll soda. I'm just saying. Don't say no to it. Don't say no. Don't knock it till you try it. But anyways, yeah, maybe one day. Who knows? If you're ever in my neck of the woods. Right now, I'm in the Glendale area. That's where I live. But anyways, yeah. So going back to Anthony, you know, you have a good amount of storage. You can go whatever you think that you need additional RAM for. You can go and set it. Just understand that part of what you convert to virtual RAM becomes is taken away from the internal storage. Back in the day when we used to do a lot of we used to root Android devices a lot back in the day because there were so many mid-range devices that had very, very weak specs. We're talking like, for instance, the LG G Stylo. Mine's had 8 gigabytes of internal storage and it had 1 gigabyte of RAM. You can imagine how atrocious that thing was. And so I used to get, I forgot what class it was. It was a class 10. But I used to get a 128 gig SD card that was a class D, was it 40 megabits per second writable speed? And I used to format that with a rooted Android device and turn it as part of virtual RAM for my phone. So like, yeah, you can only imagine. So like I would bond the SD card with the internal storage, so it would up the amount of internal storage I have. So like every app I installed on that G Stylo was all on the SD card. So there was no actual internal storage from the device taken up other than the operating system, which at that time was like Android Marshmallow. It was like 1 gig. It wasn't even that bad. And then part of that SD card was converted to virtual RAM. So I boosted up from 1 gigabyte of RAM to 6 gigs of RAM. So I knew what 6 gigs of RAM felt like way back in like, 2013, 2014. Crazy as is. Anyways, I do gotta hop off because it's like 10:54 a.m. my time, so got a lot of things I gotta take care of before I head off. My kids have early release today, so they get out at 12 noon, so I also gotta go pick them up as well. And then I gotta pick up my daughter from school, my oldest daughter, at 3 in the afternoon, so I got a couple things going. But anyways, let me know if you guys have been enjoying the Vlogmas vlogs. Another one is dropping this evening. Understand this, I don't do like long vlogs like an 18-minute vlog and show you every little second of my day, but just certain parts of my day that I just want to share with you guys. I log those in and I try to keep them under 5 minutes because you guys have busy lives just as I do, and I don't need to take away from your productivity. So a little 5-minute vlog that you guys get to watch and see and what I'm doing or what I'm talking about in the day. Some days might be overblown with a lot of things I'm doing, and some days it's going to be completely like, what the hell, man, he's home like majority of the time. Yeah, that's my life. Especially when you work remotely. So if I had a job like Carvana back in the day, like when I did a live stream inside the Carvana building before we started work, no one was there yet really except for me. I was early to work, so I walked around with my Pixel book and was like live streaming. Yeah, then I could do something like that. But yeah, I'm about to build a playlist to throw all these vlogs into one spot. I'm working on day 3, so day 3 will be released tonight, about between 6 and 8 p.m. my time. So you do the conversion to where you live at as to when it's going to release. And yeah, I'm trying my best. I am trying my best to do Vlogmas this year and do 25 mini vlogs in the month of December. So ending on Christmas Day. I may just extend Vlogmas and go all the way to New Year's and be like the last, vlog video. So that'd be like 31 days of vlogging. I don't know if I can do that much. I might as well if I reach 25. I'll see how I feel about it. But there'll be a playlist. So if you go through my channel, go to my playlist, and you'll see Vlogmas 2025, and those will contain all the Vlogmas episodes. If you don't catch them on the day of release, you can always go back and watch the replays. They'll be there. They're always shot in portrait. I don't shoot them in landscape, just so you can tell the difference. Which is weird because YouTube doesn't even show you my thumbnail if it's uploaded in portrait. It just shows you whatever scene of the video in portrait, and I always look stupid in that scene, like like I just look dumb as hell in every one. I'm just like, why YouTube, why? Like, for once maybe look halfway decent. I'll probably scare so many viewers away, like, oh my god, this guy's a freak, and it's like, yeah, I'm not. But I do want to say I love you guys very much. Stay cool, stay safe out there. Happy holidays to everybody as we're approaching Christmas, right? 22 days till then. Man, shit, this year's gone by fast. Soon we'll be in 2026. I love you guys. Much alohas. Take it easy, and mahalo for viewing not just my live stream, but my videos. Y'all are clutch. Okay.